Hey everybody, just going to do a quick video here on the Steam Deck to show a arcade classic called Star Wars Battlepod in action on here. To play a lot of these games you need to use an emulator called Teknoparrot, which I've installed on here. I can't really include any information on how to get dumps of the arcade games for legal reasons, but we'll just say that if you know how to use Google, it's not that difficult to find things on the internet. But nevertheless, I'm going to load up Teknoparrot now. This is a slightly modified Steam Deck here. It's got the back cover with some extra holes for cooling. I have it undervolted 40 milliwatts over the stock values. And it's overclocked 3800 on the CPU and 1800 megahertz on the GPU. It's not undervolted or it's not TDP increased at all. So I noticed that the CPU is struggling to get power sometimes, causing it to get a lower clock speed, but that's a whole nother topic. I'm just here to discuss Star Wars Battlepod and how to set it up as well, because to play some of these games here, when you have a Steam Deck is a powerful device and all, but it's not a gaming computer. So these arcade classics, for an example right here that I have, they need a fairly modern, powerful PC if you want to get a decent FPS where it's playable, just to let you know. And not all of these here as well. You can't really adjust settings on a lot of these, unlike the Battlepod game. So that could be a problem for some. But yeah, I'll get right into it. So we got Battlepod right there. I'm going to open up my folder where I have the emulator. So I made I think I called it MAME because that's what the more classic arcade platform is referred to as. But I named it MAME because I'm used to seeing that. Then I got my Teknoparrot emulator in this folder down there, which is the program that I just opened. And then we got my dumps. So Star Wars Battlepod, we're going to click there. Now, there's a certain way to turn the settings down on this game. That way a low-end device can play it. And in this case, I'm getting the Steam Deck to play it, which somebody else did make a video on here and showed it playing fairly poor on the Steam Deck. But I was able to go in. So this is the folder with the dump in it, and you go into our engine, and then we got another folder called config. And now in here are a bunch of INF files that help configure the game. What you need to do, and the only one that you want to mess with, whatever you do, is the base system settings. What you want to do before you open it in here and run it, we're going to change some things in it first, but we have to set this to read only, because the minute you launch the game, if you've modified any settings in these files here, it reverts them back to the stock settings with these back files that you see underneath. So you have to be kind of careful with this. Once you set up your settings in here, you have to set this to read only, that way that this game can't revert the settings back to this back file that's shown underneath. But we're going to open it up. So it's fairly easy to understand. You have a whole bunch of different little settings in here, and you can experiment with these, but each thing that you turn off, you might encounter graphical glitches in the game because of that. So you're going to have to kind of do your research on what you're turning off in there, and don't turn off the wrong thing, basically. What I'm looking for, I think that's the wrong one, actually. Oh yeah, base system settings. Okay, there it is. So the one that you want to mess with in here out of these many options is the base system settings. You want to open it up, and this is where you can set, like I said, a lot of these to false and just kind of experiment. If you turn some of these off, you're going to encounter glitches when you go to play the game. but there's a few in here that are known to slow down the more low-end devices. Motion blur, I've set it to false, as you can see, and the pause, because motion blur does put a load on the CPU. You got dynamic shadows, which I put to false, and dynamic lights. Those two things do tax the GPU quite a bit, so I know turning those off are going to give me a little bit of a speed boost as well. There's a couple other things too. I forget exactly which ones I even changed in here, but anything that's set to false that you see, I've probably changed that just to downgrade things a bit, that way that this game will run smooth. Once you do that, you just basically go to file and save. But as I mentioned, what you have to do after that, before you run Star Wars Battlepod, is you have to set it to read only, because the minute you launch this game in here, what's going to happen is it's going to revert back to that BAK file, and then everything that you just messed around with in there is going to go back to normal after you play it one time. So I'm going to launch the game now and just kind of show you guys the performance that we get out of changing those settings in there. This, I think, is the only game that you can do that with. As you can see from the list earlier, I have quite a few dumps myself, and the other ones I could not really find anywhere to change things, so I'll have to look into the other ones and maybe put a video up once I figure that out. But there's Teknoparrot just loading all the exe files. Here we go. So there's Star Wars Battlepod. I'll show you how smooth this is, because I mean, the Steam Deck is a powerful device, but it does have its limitations. And although the overclock and the undervolt on this particular Steam Deck probably helps it out a little bit, the experience with those options changed on a stock Steam Deck is also better as well. Like, it plays pretty much the same with the overclock, I noticed. Probably because it's using, I think it's only using Direct3D 9. Not quite sure, but as you can see, that seems pretty smooth. You're going to see it lag a little bit at times, but this is a pretty graphic and CPU intensive game. So somebody else, like I said, put a video on YouTube about this, on the Steam Deck being attempted on the Teknoparrot emulator, and he was getting a lot of stuttering to the point that you could barely even play the game. And now, as you can see, look at that, it's playing well. I have my keys mapped a certain way, so we're just gonna go into the game quick to show you how smooth it is now with those settings that I modified in that config file. Could probably do one that's easy would be the best bet. I forget exactly how I map the buttons on here, but you can do that in the Teknoparrot emulator under, I believe it's, I'll have to take a look after, but there's a setting in the emulator that you can map your buttons with too. So it's not really hard to map the buttons per se for this particular game. So here we go. It's going to launch in a second. So it's telling me to press something out when I know I got to press something. There we go. There she goes. This is an arcade classic that many people would love to have on a handheld like this, or even a gaming laptop or a gaming PC. So, I mean, being able to modify those settings hopefully will help somebody else play this game on a more low-power device. Like me, myself, I don't really have a fancy gaming laptop, but I can play it on there now after changing these settings as well. And if you look here, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to hold my phone and do this at the same time, but I'm just kind of educational purposes. Oh, it says it's running. Cool. The controls all work fine. The way this game works, though, is you gotta kind of lock onto stuff and shoot, or it shoots at you, as you can see. I don't think this level's too hard where you can die easily, thankfully. So there we go. This is where it's going to fly into places that are smaller. As you can see, it's still pretty smooth. Oh, I've been hit. Uh-oh. I'm probably going to die because I'm not really controlling it the best right now. But, So there's a little bit of latency, as you can see, especially when it comes to like some of the explosions in the background. But overall, this game is definitely playable on the Steam Deck with that little adjustment that I showed you guys. So hopefully, like I said, this helps somebody else with the Steam Deck that wants to set this up if they have a copy of the game. As I mentioned, for legal reasons, I can't really tell you where to find a dump of it or any other information, let's say. But overall, great game. One of my favorites. Not all of us can go to an arcade, unfortunately, and play this every single day. So once you get this set up, then you got a great way to play Star Wars Battlepod on a fairly low-end device, and you're all set. I'll just kind of finish the video up here a little bit till I die. I'm controlling it with one finger, so I'm not even aiming properly. Oh, see, it just kind of went away. Oh, there it goes. I think this level you can't really die, but because I wasn't really trying to play, and I just, oh, there we go, mission failed. There goes something exploding. But yeah, what I noticed with this game too, and those other games that you saw on the list there, is they all use the Unreal Engine. But I think the way it works, because it's an arcade box, is it has different security features built into the engine. So you can't just like download this, you can't just put this dump on your computer, we'll say, and open the exe file and hope that you're going to be able to play the game. It's probably not going to start up, and it's going to give you an error because you're not using the emulator properly. So you have to have the Teknoparrot emulator to play these games. There might be a way that I'm not aware of that you can get through the security somehow, but I'll just kind of show you quick what happens. If I close like the wrong window with that emulator open, there's going to be another intimidating screen that's going to pop up in a second. That's going to make you laugh. Oh no, I guess it reopened again. So usually there's another screen that comes up here telling you to call the shop service, because it is an arcade dump, so it makes sense. There's no arcade box here. But oh, actually, yeah, there we go. There's our screen. Because I didn't properly close. Oh, there it is. It looks like it figured out that I'm using something I shouldn't be to play the game, but a little hard to close, but there we go. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, this video helps somebody else out if they want to play Star Wars Battlepod on the Steam Deck. I'll post some more videos of the Steam Deck's emulation powers as well. Me, myself, I'm a big arcade fan. So once I bought the Steam Deck and figured out that there was ways to play a lot of these games, I started doing some experimenting, and then of course came the overclocking after to optimize things a bit. But you don't have to really overclock the Steam Deck. It delivers pretty much the same experience overclocked as it does stock. Maybe a slight FPS gain, but then you get your heat added as well and your poor battery life. So yeah, that's all for now. I'll post another video of some more arcade classics and how to set them up. And like I said, hopefully this helps somebody get a good experience with Star Wars Battlepod if they can find a dump.